The Connector Next Door is your invitation to meet the natural connectors all around us. They represent the everyday event planners who are energizing their communities every single day. Their stories are familiar, fun, and full of charm. Your host, Lisa Garrow, is a lifelong event planner and has been a connection strategy coach for over a decade. She knows events can become energized connecting points where communities can gather and grow. Let's listen in as she strikes up a conversation with today's Connector Next Door.
Skevi Constantinou is a highly experienced former executive assistant who is a dream builder and a firm believer that assistants and business support professionals can really level up. Skevi spoke to me from her home in Birmingham, England, and shared how connection to her means community, and her experience of community is clearly the foundation for her award-winning and global lifestyle platform, the PA Way. Skevi ensures that her members feel valued, nurtured, and listened to by hosting fun and empowering in-person and online events for both their personal and professional development. With Skevi at the helm, I'm sure all feel valued, nurtured, and listened to. And that sounds like community to me. The PA Way came to her in a dream while working full-time in an executive assistant role. That dream has led her to a self-taught journey of leveling up and calling others to level up in their profession as well. Through our conversation, I could see how much Skevi values the PA Way, loyal royals, and is helping to take her view of community to the next level. Welcome back to another episode of the Connector Next Door. I'm really excited. I've got a globe behind me because I love talking to people, not just next door here in Calgary, but to be talking to people around the world. And Skevi, I'm so glad that you're here to have this conversation with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the invitation. So excited to be here.
Maybe you can tell the ones that are listening today, you can tell them where you're coming from.
So I'm coming from Birmingham, UK, so England, UK.
And it's amazing to me just again, I keep talking about the gifts of COVID as much as this has devastated a lot of events that have happened in the last couple of years. But the idea of you and I getting connected and me understanding more about your work and what brought you to that work, I'm so thrilled to be having this conversation with you. If you don't mind, we're going to just dive right in, and I would love to hear from you. What does connection mean to you?
Connection for me means community. Being able to be in an age and on this universe at this time where we are lucky and blessed to be able to be connected with people all around the world. Through lots of digital means, you can have them on WhatsApp, you can have them on Zoom, and it's just building community. I truly believe community is everything, and for me personally, it's my foundation for doing what I do with the PA Way, but also with my other work that I do as well.
I'd love to hear a little bit more. I know we had a fantastic conversation just in the last couple of weeks about what brought you to create the PA Way. And when you're talking about creating community and that is everything for you, I would love to hear a little bit of your journey to where you actually birthed something, a community where people would feel welcome. They'd feel like they could celebrate. And you've got some really cool things happening at the PA Way, but that journey to really creating a community where you're now leading the community and leading others to an experience of community that I think is so unique. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey to the PA Way?
Yes, and thank you for your kind words. So the PA Way came to me actually in a dream in February 2018. I woke up and I saw the platform in my dream. And at the time I was in a full executive assistant role. And I thought to create it just to give it a try because I was so excited by what I'd seen. And each day after work, I just spent many hours on YouTube trying to learn how to build websites, how to create an online community. And it's pretty much self-taught. Everything that I've done with the PA Way has been self-taught, but also using the skill set that I had as an executive assistant as well. And I've just tried to level up and bring people together in my profession so that they are celebrated and recognized for the awesomeness that they are. I'm very passionate about the profession that I'm in. I'm surrounded by so many brilliant colleagues all around the world. And for me, I wanted to take that one step further. So I single-handedly took it upon myself to build the first in-house membership app for the profession, which is the PA Way app. And in there, I custom built, alongside with my website developer, a real lifetime chat. So assistants, amongst many other features in the app, they can actually talk real-time chat with any assistant who is a loyal royal member of the PA Way, so a part of the PA Way. And they can talk and share best practice. They can share whatever is on their heart and mind. And it really is, time and time again, the biggest thing that I've created with the PA Way is this online community.
So did you find that in your past that you didn't have that voice? You didn't have an opportunity when you're talking about this real-time conversations where someone could chat with someone else and actually get a solution or some kind of inspiration or an answer to a question. Was there a time in your life where you felt like that you didn't have that kind of support?
So I was surrounded in a few of the roles that I had. There were many other assistants in the organization as well. So I knew I could go to them in the first instance as person to person in face. However, I wanted to expand that network, and where I was working and lived in Birmingham, I felt I couldn't be myself. I felt I had to join networks and go out there, and I didn't want to put myself in a situation where you felt that you couldn't be yourself. I wanted to create an organization where you could live your truth, whatever that is to you, be authentically yourself. So again, with the PA Way, that's why I wanted to level up and create it, because I truly know what it's like to feel lonely in a profession. And I kept hearing from other colleagues saying, I feel really lonely, even though they were in an organization with hundreds of other assistants. Like, I feel really lonely. I feel invisible to my executive, or I feel invisible to my manager. And I thought I would take it upon myself to create something that brings everyone collectively together so that we continue to level up as one squad, as I call it here at the PA Way.
And I see your hashtag behind you, one squad. There too.
Yeah.
So in creating community, I think that can tend to be a bit of a buzzword sometimes for some organizations, some companies that are wanting to grow. They're saying we want to create a community around our product or around our offering or around our service. And we understand that, I think, intellectually. What are you finding that the people are actually gaining, like when they're bringing their hearts to this community? I really see that in you and the time that we have had to speak about the PA Way, but just even your own journey. I would guess that they're also hearing that heart. Are people able to share, like you say, who they are? Is that making a difference in their work world, in their lives? Are you hearing some of those stories already?
That's such brilliant dialogue that you just shared there, and thank you for that, because yes is the simple answer. Having a place where, regardless of whether it's the PA Way or somewhere else, where you can be authentically yourself without that judgment. You can live your truth, whatever that is, without judgment. And you can bring your good days and your bad days, your highs and your lows, and know that you have that community around you to support you, to lift you up, to say, hey, it's okay if you've got knocked down 7. We're here to pick you up 8. And to keep going. And the reason I see it time and time again with the PA Way is because my members tell me that firsthand. They say to me, I cannot believe I waited so long to join, or why didn't I join sooner? I know that I have the community here right at my fingertips. I could go in the chat and say, I'm not having a good day, or my hair doesn't look good, or I'm just feeling really low, typical everyday things. Or they could say they're really excited about something that's happened in their job role, whatever it is, whatever their truth is. everybody there in the community that I've created online and in person is there to lift, empower, motivate. You're never on your own. I actually joke because I say to them, even if you want like 1 minute to yourself in that group chat, there's nowhere to hide because everyone is so supportive and so positive. I mean, you should just see the messages on a Monday morning. You can't turn up to work in a bad mood from just the messages alone on a Monday morning. It's really the energy you need in your life.
Well, I so love that, because when I first birthed the Connector Next Door podcast, and I was kind of thinking about the girl next door, the guy next door, the people next door, and what really builds friendships. And I read this once, that what truly builds friendships, because this is my own journey, sort of getting back into really opening the door to other people in my life, personally and professionally. And when we open the door, that your house doesn't have to be perfectly sort of all done up and ready to go, and you've got the drinks set, and I'm an event planner, and you too, you would probably be the same way. You'd want to have a certain level, you know, that the laundry's now all folded and put away and not sitting on the couch. But I think sometimes we forget that in community, popping over to our friend next door, where there might be things that are out of place, and there might be conversations about what just happened this morning, or a conversation I just had that set me off, or whatever it is. I think we forget that the word community is about showing up exactly how you've just described it. Is that something that you grew up with when you were younger? Did you grow up in a community where you could be yourself, or you could kind of open those doors, or you had someone in your life that showed you what that looked like? Or did you have to kind of invent that for yourself as you got older?
What a brilliant question. It's a bit of both, if I'm being honest. So my family is quite small for a traditional Greek Cypriot family. And my parents, I would say, they're quite set in their ways of very typical Greek behavior. If you've ever seen the film My Big Fat Greek Wedding, my dad and my mom are like so on that level. So if I was to ever say to them, Mom, Dad, I want to do this or be creative, it was quite hard to show them the value of it that didn't involve like any Greek food for a start, you know. But I grew up in an area which I absolutely adore, an area in England called Wolverhampton, and that's my home city. And I grew up in an area that wasn't it was quite run down at times, and you know, and people struggled, and I saw a lot of things growing up. But the community that was in that city makes me so proud to be from that city, and I absolutely adore the people from that city, because even though they didn't, the people that I grew up with in my close proximity, they didn't have a lot. But what they had was kindness and time and value of knowledge and sharing knowledge. And if they could give you the world, they would. But instead, as a young girl sitting on the pavement and watching, you know, the children play and seeing the parents tying their laundry onto the washing line outside and things like that, I really got used to this community, because they would see me and they would say, "Hi, Skevi, how are you? How was school?" You know, and these are people that I grew up with, and very hardworking people, and they shaped me to be the person that I am today, in the sense of, it doesn't matter what car you drive, it doesn't matter what, you know, you clothes you wear, you know, if you're blessed, you have a roof over your head and food on the table, you can be whatever you want to be, you know, and these kind of people supported me. But then going into my corporate career, I didn't really feel like I had a sense of community in the organizations that I did, but I did feel that the potential was there. And which is why I then started networking and going out to events. And I was like, wow, there's so many brilliant assistants, because I don't know why I've spoken to other assistants in the past before. And it's almost like, even though there's 500 million people in the profession, but you kind of feel lonely at times and maybe think like you're the only PA assistant out there. It's really strange. I talk about this quite a lot with the PA way. So, yeah, community is key. It's everything for me personally.
And what I really love about the picture you just painted for us is that you have given us a way of being. And when I think about the connectors way, when we talk about the natural connectors, there's something that is instilled in us, either from a negative perspective, like we've never had it, or we know what it looks like. And then when we go into the real world, when we grow up and we feel like you're missing something, not having it. And what a gift for you to create, kind of mold a community that feels very much like what you grew up in, where people are hanging their laundry and they're saying hello and they know your name. I have one client that is a coach in a smaller town, and it's positive and it's negative, right? Because everyone knows your business, which is part of it. But the other part of that, when you don't have that type of community, you almost long for it. You long to have people that know your name, that will be there, that can come over and have a conversation. You kind of have that common ground. You have launched, when did you launch the PA Way? When were the doors open for?
Officially June 2018.
And 18. So you've had a couple of years of building, and as you're encouraging and kind of building the culture of the PA Way, the same thing as people having stories on how that's impacted them, I would guess you probably see people starting to pick up what you've created and the types of community sort of engagement pieces that you have created in the PA Way, where they're now becoming, I use the word mentor loosely in this way, but where they're the ones now calling people by their names, inviting people in, having the conversation on the Monday morning that inspires you. Are you seeing that others are kind of picking up over the last couple of years the way that you know community to be?
That's so interesting you say that, because I was actually doing some Zoom calls today, and I was talking to a member of the PA Way, a Loyal Royal member, about one of the other Loyal Royals, who was quite shy when she joined, and she was so incredibly shy. She wouldn't even talk to anyone, and she would look down at the floor and stuff. Now, 2 years on, she'll say to me, "Oh, you can go and have a cup of tea if you want, Skevi, and a biscuit. I've got this. I'll look after everybody in the room. These are my squad. These are my fellow assistants. These are my people." And I just think to myself, she got all of that from joining the PA Way, and she's so confident now. And I think to myself, they've all found their kind of their position, that although we're collectively all equal, they've kind of found their own role within the PA Way. So you have some people who are really good with technology, and they help the people that not. You have other people who are brilliant with diary management, so they'll help the newbies who have joined. It's just such a cross blend of talent, brilliance, and just I am in awe of those in my profession. Yeah.
I love that so much. And really, when we are trying to create a movement, you said earlier in this conversation that this came to you in a dream.
Yeah.
And we have talked in the past too. We've talked about this being bigger than ourselves, me here in Candy, but even for you in the PA Way, that this is bigger than you. And you are facilitating something that is meant to live on, meant to be there for, many assistants to come in the years to come. And sometimes when we allow ourselves to let the conversation happen, and just like you said, where people are finding their roles and finding their feet and their confidence and applying that and freeing you up to do other things and to create more and to build more into the community. What a gift that must be to you when you're seeing that naturally happen.
I'm just always in awe, because somebody said to me the other day, "Skevi, I've learned so much from you and the PA Way." And I think when you're a creator and you're in a constant state of creation, like myself and like you, it's kind of hard sometimes to step back and look at your own personal journey. Because for me personally, it's all about how can I serve others? How can I accelerate the PA Way that puts assistants and business support professionals in the spotlight even more? What do I need to do to make sure that our profession is celebrated? These are some of the most hardworking, talented, brilliant people that I am so blessed to be connected with. So for me, it's always how can I level up? How can I push the PA Way that makes an impact to celebrate them? But I think when the limelight or the spotlight is put back on you internally, it's oh gosh, yeah, I did wake up and I had a dream. And, it gets a little bit, I don't know. I find I've not, in the 3 years that I've done the PA way, I don't think I've really stepped back to look at my journey. But when people highlight very kindly with nice words, I still think then, what can I do to help somebody else? It's very hard for me as a mindset to kind of internalize the PA way as me, because the way that I see it is I created the PA way, but my profession and my members are the PA way.
I love it. And what's really cool about that is that as you're talking about sort of the stepping back and seeing what you've created, I am a firm believer that we need to do that sometimes in the sense that these things don't happen by accident. And there are people in my life and probably your life too, that might still be looking to the ground. They might still feel like, maybe there isn't a place for me, or they don't have the confidence. And as we do that for ourselves, where we step back and we say, not only did we have the vision for what we wanted to create, but look at what's happening. And those things, they don't happen alone. We don't do those things alone, but over time, that there are steps that you take, and you show up every day, and you show up in your best. And I love what you were saying about celebrating the ones that are the PA way now. And I love to learn a little bit more, because I know that we have talked about it, and I've seen on your social media that you are doing a celebration, an award ceremony that is part of the PA way. Could you tell us a little bit about what's brewing there right now?
Yes. So for me, my biggest inspiration creatively has always been Walt Disney and Roald Dahl, with children's author. So I am putting on an awards ceremony next year called the PA Way and the Golden Ticket Awards, which will be an award ceremony to celebrate assistant and business support professionals. There's various categories like assistant of the year, office manager of the year, etc. And so it's themed around Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Beautiful. But I'm also blending it with the PA way. So the PA way's mantra has always been live, love, level up. It's a framework that I created. So I'm creating Level Up Land, which is a knock on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but also the kind of awards that I want to create. So it's the PA Way meets Willy Wonka. And I'm planning an entire ceremony for nearly 200 people completely on my own. So I have 13. And the realization has definitely hit me. I have now less than 3 months to execute the entire thing. So fingers crossed.
Well, if what you have done so far is any indication, you will blow this right out of the water and blow everyone away. And I know that you'll bring your community together. That just seems to be the nature of how you work. And it's so exciting. And it's funny that everything I do, I bring candy to every meeting, and not so much anymore because everything's on Zoom. But I love the theme that you've created, and I love how you are leaning in, and every post I see is celebrating the people in your community and the things that they are capable of. And what an amazing way to honor them and to, really add that sweetness to what the PA way is to be having this event. I just love that. And as we're kind of looking to wrap here today, could you tell me, and I think I could guess just from what you've said in some of our conversations, but if we could take what you've created with the PA way and the community that is being built there and how they're showing up for each other and showing up for you, and if you could sort of, with your Disney magic wand, and sprinkle that all over the world, what would it look like for you to have a more connected world that would actually have some of those characteristics of what you're building in the PA way?
For me, the end game, because I always think of the end in mind, if even one assistant or one business support professional says, I have self-belief, as in themselves, I have self-belief, I am really good at my job, I deserve to be in the position that I am, I deserve to be celebrated, rewarded, level up. That to me is just everything. So that's all I want. I want my profession just to continue to be invested in, celebrated, rewarded, for people to realize their worth. So whether that's through the PA Way membership, Loyal Royal membership, coming to the training events that I do, coming to the conferences, or whatever it is that ignites their spark. It could be outside of the PA Way, whatever it is, as long as they're living truthfully to themselves, but also continuing to be the best version that they can be, then that makes me very happy.
And even though you're saying for one person, but if that truly happens, and if something shifts and changes within them, it can't help but ripple out to the other people in their lives as well, which actually changes our world. Thank you so much for being with me. What a joy to hear your story in a different way this time. And I would love for people to be able to connect with you and connect with the PA Way. If this is something that they want to continue the conversation, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, first of all, a huge thank you for having me and inviting me to speak. Your questions have been so lovely, so thank you. And you can find me at thepaway.co.uk, on LinkedIn. I'm a regular on LinkedIn, as you said, at Skevi Constantinou, on Instagram at the PA Way UK, and on Facebook and Twitter, it is the PA Way.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And I so look forward to collaborating with you in the months to come.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
The Connector Next Door podcast is produced by Candy Event Consulting, where everyday event planners and their teams gain clarity, get connected, and grow in confidence. Subscribe at www.candyconsulting.ca to hear visits with everyday event planners who are putting connections first.